Hi everyone, welcome to Sweet Pea Stitch Inspirations. My name is Sydney and today we are going to be working on the shades of Fall Bandana Cowl. So real quick, some stitches that you are going to need to know how to do in today's tutorial, which is a lot of basic ones. You will need to know how to do a slip stitch, of course, a single crochet in the back loop only, chain stitches, double crochet, front post double crochet, and a chain 3 picot. Now if you don't know how to do any of those stitches, please refer back to a different tutorial that goes over whatever stitch that you need help on and then come back. So first we will work on the collar of the bandana cowl, which consists of 70 rows. And then you'll start working on the bandana portion of the cowl, which consists of 10. Let's go ahead and talk about yarn choices real quick. So the cowl that you see right in front of the camera, this is a 4-weight yarn, which equals up to an adult size. The yarn that I use for the collar is some of Red Heart Super Saver in the color beige. And then for the bandana is some Red Heart the color Latte, which is one of the ombre collections. Again, this is a 4-weight yarn and it does equal up to an adult size. Now, if you are wanting to use the same stitch counts but make it for a small child, what you can do is, and you'll see me working with this yarn throughout the tutorial, is use a light 3-weight yarn. And what I use specifically in this cowl is some of the Hobie's Manarola. Again, this is a light 3-weight yarn. I use the exact same stitch counts for both of these cowls. It's just the yarn sizing that has changed the sizing of both of these cowls. Now, you will need at least, I would say, about 230-ish yards. This is from what's left over of one skein. Now, one skein of the Manarola has 262 yards, so I would say there is probably at least a good 30 yards still left over. Now, if you're still wanting to use the Manarola, but for an adult, I would definitely recommend double stranding your yarn. And if you need the gauge swatches for both of these cowls, I will definitely try to remember to put those down in the description box. Now, I will be using US terms in today's tutorial, so let's go over some materials that you are going to need. Now, first, starting off, you are going to need a few stitch markers, because once we get done with the collar, we are going to need to section out a few of our stitches. So you will need at least 2 or 3 to 4 stitch markers. And then I used a tapestry or darning needle to weave in my ends. Now for both of these cowls, I did use a 5mm hook. Again, I will try to remember to put the swatch gauge down in the description box if you need it. And then, of course, some scissors. So I believe I covered all of the bases. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always feel free to email me, which will also be down in the description box, or you can also ask away in the comments if you prefer that. But we'll go ahead and get started. Once you have finished single crocheting in each of those chains, which should give you a total of 28 single crochets, we are going to do a 1-row repeat for a total of 70 rows. We're going to go ahead and chain 1, turn our work, and we are going to place a single crochet in the back loop of that stitch only. So when you look at a stitch, you'll see that there is 2 loops that make up a V. This back loop here, which is where my thumb is placed at, and then this front loop right here. We are going to single crochet only into that back loop. Again, go into that back loop only and place a single crochet. You're going to go ahead and continue repeating that for the remainder of this row and for a total of 70 rows. Once you have gotten all 70 rows, what we're going to do next is go ahead and chain 1, and we're going to connect our 2 ends together by placing a single crochet in each stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Once I am done, I should have in total 28 single crochets that I have connected together. You have now sewn the 2 edges together. What we're going to do is we are going to fold our collar in half. So essentially what we are doing is making a double brim collar. And the key thing with this is we will be crocheting these ends together now here, and so you don't want them to be twisted because then your collar is going to be twisted. So once you have it all situated and ready to go, what we're going to do is chain 1, and then we're just going to go ahead and sew these ends together by placing a single crochet in each stitch. So once you are done, you should have a total of 70 single crochets. So I'm going to go ahead and work this real quick, and then I will meet you once I have gotten all 70 single crochets. Now what we're going to do is section off our stitches so we know where to place certain stitches at. So we're going to flip our collar on the back side with our single crochets facing up, and where that stitch is that we left off at, which you can go ahead and cut your work if you need to and weave in the end, we're going to count 11 stitches to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You're going to place a stitch marker there. Now, counting that stitch marker, we're going to count 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And then we are going to place a stitch marker there. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, so 1 and 2, that is not counting that stitch marker. So again, skip 2 stitches, so 1 and 2. Place a stitch marker in that 3rd stitch. And counting that stitch, we are going to count 24. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way until you get 24 stitches. Then you'll place a stitch marker in that 24th stitch. And once you have done that, we'll start on row number 1 of the bandana part for this cowl. So we're going to go back to that very first stitch marker that we placed, and we are going to place a single crochet into that stitch. And then we're going to place a single crochet into the next stitch. Go ahead and chain 3, so 1, 2, and 3. We're going to skip 2 stitches, so 1 and 2, and then in the next 2 stitches we are going to place a single crochet. And that is going to be the repeat unit until you make it back around to this stitch marker, which is where we skipped those 2 stitches, and that is going to be for our increasing middle point. So once you have those 2 single crochets, we're going to chain 3 again, so 1, 2, and 3. We're going to skip 2 stitches, and into the next 2 we are going to place a single crochet. I'm going to work it with you one more time. So again, chain 3, so 1, 2, and 3. We're we're going to skip 2 stitches, and in the next 2 stitches we are going to place a single crochet in each. Go ahead and continue working that until you have made it to the stitch marker, which should be over a total of 24 stitches. Now once you make it to that stitch marker, you'll have 2 stitches left. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to skip that stitch marker, and we're going to go to those 2 stitches that we skipped for our middle point. And in that very first stitch right after that stitch marker, so here's the stitch marker right here, into this stitch we are going to place 2 double crochets. And then we're going to chain 1, and if you need to move that stitch marker, you can do that now. You're going to chain 1, and then we're going to go into the next stitch, and we are going to place 2 double crochets. Now whatever we did on one side, we must do to the other. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that stitch marker. But I'm going to skip the next 2 stitches, but before I do that, I'm going to chain 3. So chain 3, and then we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, so 1 and 2, and we're going to place a single crochet into the next 2. Go ahead and chain 3 again, skip 2, and then in the next 2, we'll go ahead and place a single crochet in both of those. Go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it to this stitch marker. You should have left off with 2 single crochets. Now for row number 2, we're going to go ahead and chain 3, so 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to turn our work. In that first chain 3 space here, we're going to place 2 single crochets, and then we're going to chain 3, so 1, 2, and 3. We're going to skip these 2 single crochets and go straight to that chain 3 space and place 2 single crochets. That is going to be our repeat unit. So again, we're going to go ahead and chain 3. We're going to skip these 2 single crochets, go straight to the next chain space and place 2 single crochets. One more time. Go ahead and chain 3, skip these 2 single crochets, go to that chain 3 space and place 2 single crochets. Go ahead and continue working that until you get to your center point, which is where we've done those 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Once you have made it to that center point, you should have 2 single crochets into that last chain 3 space. You'll go ahead and chain 3. We're going to skip these 2 double crochets and go into that chain 1 space and place 2 double crochets. Chain 1 and then 2 double crochets. Again, whatever we do on one side, we must do to the other. So we're going to go ahead and chain 3. We're going to skip these 2 double crochets here, go straight to that chain 3 space, and place 2 single crochets. Chain 3, skip those 2 double crochets from the previous row, go to that chain 3 space and place 2 single crochets. Chain 3, again skip those 2 single crochets, and into that chain 3 space we're going to place 2 single crochets. Go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it to the end of your row. You're going to go ahead and leave off with a chain 3. We're going to skip these 2 single crochets, and we're going to go into the stitch that we did not work into, and we are going to go ahead and slip stitch into that space. So that was row number 2. For row number 3, we're going to go ahead and chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. We're going to go ahead and turn our work. And now we are going to place 2 double crochets into that chain 3 space. So 1 and 2. Place a double crochet in each of these single crochets. And then 2 double crochets into the chain 3 space, and a double crochet in each of those single crochets. We'll go ahead and continue repeating that until we have made it to our center point. So again, 2 double crochets into that chain 3 space, and then a double crochet in each of the single crochets. Once you have made it to the center point, we're going to go ahead and place a double crochet in both of those double crochets from the previous row. And then in the chain 1 space, we are going to place 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. Again, whatever we do on one side, we must do to the other. So we're going to place a double crochet in both of those 2 double crochets from the previous row, 2 double crochets into the chain 3 space, and then a double crochet in each of the single crochets. Go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it to the end of this row. You should leave off with 2 double crochets into that last chain 3 space, and now we are going to slip stitch into the next unworked stitch of those 70 single crochets that we made before starting the bandana cowl, or the bandana part of the cowl. So go ahead and slip stitch into there. And now we are going to work on row number 4 by chaining 3. So 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and turn your work. And now we are going to place a front post single crochet in each of our stitches. So we're going to go ahead and yarn over. We're going to grab our stitch from the back, so where it is on our hook, and we're going to place a front post double crochet. We're going to go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it to the center point. Once you have made it to that chain 1 space, we're going to go ahead and place 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 double crochet into that chain 1 space. Then we're going to go ahead and continue working the front post double crochets all the way until you make it to the end on the other side. Once you have made it to the end, you'll also place a front post double crochet around that chain 3. And now into that same space that we've already made a slip stitch, we're going to go into that same space and make another slip stitch. So now for row number 5, we're going to go ahead and chain 1, turn our work, and into that very first double crochet, we are going to place a single crochet. Then we are going to chain 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to skip 4 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to place a single crochet. We're going to go ahead and repeat that, so again we're going to chain 5. We're going to skip 4, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. Place a single crochet into that 5th stitch. And again, one more time, chain 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In that 5th stitch, place a single crochet. Go ahead and continue repeating that until you have gotten to that center point. Once you have made it to almost the center point, you will notice that you only have 2 stitches left. We're going to go ahead and chain 3, so 1, 2, and 3. In that chain 1 space, we are going to place 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. And then again, whatever we do to one side, we must do to the other. So we're going to go ahead and chain 3, skip 2 stitches, and then in that 3rd stitch, we are going to place a single crochet, chain 5, skip 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and that 5th double crochet, place a single crochet. Go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it to the end. Once you have gotten close to the end, you'll have a chain 5, and then we're going to place a single crochet into the top of that chain 3 from the previous row. And then we're going to slip stitch into the same stitch that we slipped in the past. So go ahead and place a slip stitch there. And now for row number 6, we're going to go ahead and start off by chaining 5 and turn our work. Once you have gotten that chain 5, we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet into the chain 5 from the previous row. And then in this single crochet, we are going to place 4 double crochets. So again, in that single crochet, place 4 double crochets. In the next space, we are going to place a single crochet. Then we're going to chain 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to skip this single crochet here, go straight to the next chain 5 space and place a single crochet. Then in the next single crochet, we are going to place 4 double crochets. So again, 4 double crochets into that single crochet. Single crochet into the next chain 5 space, chain 5, skip the single crochet, go to the next chain 5 space, place a single crochet, 4 double crochets into the next single crochet, single crochet into the next chain 5 space, go ahead and chain 5, and now we are going to skip this chain or the single crochet. We're going to go to this chain 3, place a single crochet. Then in the chain 1 space, we are going to place 1 double crochet, chain 1 and 1 double crochet all into that chain 1 space, which is the center portion of your cowl. So now whatever we did to one side, we must do to the other. So we're going to start off with a single crochet into that chain 5 space. Go ahead and chain 5. We're going to skip this single crochet. We're going to go to the next chain 5 space, place a single crochet, and then 4 double crochets into the next single crochet. And then single crochet into the next chain 5 space. So go ahead and continue repeating that unit until you have made it to the end. Once you have made it to the end of row number 6, you'll have a chain 5. Then in that very last space, we are going to place a single crochet. And then now we are going to slip stitch into the next stitch that we have not worked into. So go ahead and slip into that space. And now for row number 7, go ahead and chain 3. Turn your work. And now in that single crochet that we just made, we are going to place a double crochet. And into that chain 5 space, we're going to place a single crochet. Go ahead and chain 5. And then now between the second and third double crochet of the 4, we are going to place a single crochet again in between the second and third double crochet. Go ahead and chain 5. And then into the next chain 5 space, we are going to place a single crochet. And that's going to be our repeat unit until we make it back to our center portion of the bandana cowl. So again, go ahead and chain 5 again. In between the second and third double crochet of the 4, we are going to place a single crochet. Chain 5 again, and then in the next chain 5 space we are going to place a single crochet. Go ahead and continue repeating that until you've made it to that chain 1 space. You should have a chain 5, and now we are going to place 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 double crochet all into that chain 1 space. Then whatever we do to one side we must do to the other, so we'll start off with a chain of 5, we'll go to the next chain 5 space and place a single crochet, chain 5 again, go in between the second and third double crochet and place a single crochet. Go ahead and continue repeating that unit until you have made it to the end of row number 7. You should have a single crochet into that last chain 5 space, and we are going to place a double crochet into the next unworked space. And now for row number 8, we're going to start off with a chain of 3, and that is going to count as a double crochet. And we are going to place a double crochet in each of these stitches. So starting off with this single crochet here, we are going to place a double crochet. Once you have made it to the chain 5 space, we are going to place 5 double crochets into that chain 5 space. Double crochet into that single crochet, and then again 5 double crochets into that chain 5 space. Go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it to the center part, and I will give you the next step. You'll have a double crochet before that chain 1. We're going to place a double crochet into that space, and then in the chain 1 we're going to place a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then again whatever we do to one side we must do to the other. So place a double crochet into that first double crochet, 5 double crochets into that chain 5 space, and then 1 double crochet into the single crochet. Go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it to the end of row number 8. You'll have a double crochet into that last single crochet, double crochet into that double crochet, and then a double crochet into that chain 3 space. So now for row number 9, we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn our work. Now that is not going to count as a stitch, so into that first double crochet space we are going to place a single crochet and single crochet into the next space. Go ahead and chain 3, so 1, 2, and 3. Skip 2 stitches, so 1 and 2, and then in the next 2 double crochets we are going to place a single crochet, and that is going to be our repeat unit for this row. So again we're going to chain 3, skip 2, and then in the next 2 double crochets we are going to place a single crochet, chain 3 again, skip 2, so 1 and 2, and then the next 2 double crochets we are going to place a single crochet, chain 3 again, skip 2, and into the next 2 double crochets we are going to place a single crochet. Go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it to that chain 1 space, and you should have left off with a single crochet into that very last double crochet before that chain 1. So now we are going to place a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into that chain 1 space. Now whatever we did on one side we must do to the other. So in that very first stitch we are going to place a single crochet and a single crochet into that next space. Chain 3, skip 2, single crochet into the next 2 double crochets. Again, go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it to the end of row 9. You should have a single crochet into the last 2 stitches. Now for our last and final row, which is row number 10, we're going to start off by chaining 1 and turn our work. Now that chain 1 does not count as a stitch, so into the first 2 single crochets here we are going to place a single crochet in both of those. Then in that chain 3 space we're going to place 2 single crochets with a chain 3 picot. So I like to chain 3, and then I will slip stitch back into that single crochet. Still working into that chain 3 space, we're going to place 2 more single crochets, single crochet into the next 2 stitches, then into that chain 3 space place 2 single crochets with a chain 3 picot, and then 2 more single crochets. So when you look at your picots and you count the stitches in between, you should have a total of 6 single crochets in between each picot. So once you have those 2 single crochets into that chain 3 space, place a single crochet in the next 2 stitches, then 2 single crochets into that chain 3 space with a chain 3 picot, and then 2 more single crochets into that chain 3 space, and you'll go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it to the chain 1 space. When you have made it to that chain 1 space, you should have a single crochet into that double crochet. And now what we're going to do into that chain 1 space, we are going to place a double crochet, and instead of doing a chain 1 we are going to do a chain 3 picot. So chain 3, and then again I like to slip stitch back into my stitch instead of that first chain, and then we are going to place another double crochet into that chain 1 space. Now again, whatever we do to one side we must do to the other, so that double crochet counts as one of our 6 stitches. So into the next 5 stitches we are going to place a single crochet. So single crochet into the next 3 to where you are now to the chain 3 space, place 2 single crochets into that chain 3, chain 3 picot, 2 single crochets into that chain 3 space, single crochet into the next 2 single crochets. Now we're back at another chain 3 space, so we are going to place a chain or 2 single crochets into that chain space with a chain 3 picot, and then 2 single crochets back into that chain 3 space. Again, when you count stitches between the picots, you should have in total 6 stitches. So go ahead and continue repeating that until you have made it to the end of row number 10. You will leave off with 2 single crochets into those last 2 stitches. Then you can cut your work and then weave in your ends, and that is it for the shades of Fall Bandana Cowl. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please don't forget to give this video a like, share, comment, or subscribe. I just want to say thank you for hanging out with me today. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always feel free to email me or ask away down in the comments, which my email will be down in the description box for you. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy your cowl, and I will see you in the next tutorial.